This is another viewer requested video, and this is something I get asked in life all the time, and people that watch the channel want to hear a video on. Michael Jackson versus Prince is today's topic. I'm going to get into it coming right up. It's Russ from the Infectious Group podcast and YouTube channel. If this is your first time on the channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe button below. Drop a like on the video if you like what we're doing here, and go back and check out some other videos that we have on the channel. Today's topic comes from nearly everybody I've ever met in my entire life, and several viewers of the channel said, hey, when are you going to do a video on Michael Jackson versus Prince? Because I've done many videos on both artists. And some people, hopefully, will come away with this video with new points, but I think a lot of people are going to be feel like this is a non-answer. But I would ask fans of both artists to at least listen to my point of view on this, because I feel like there's a lot of division that gets caused in the fan bases, either by the media or by other fans. And I think it's important that we celebrate what the artists left instead of being so divisive between the two. So, as I said, almost everybody I've ever met in my life knows I'm a huge Prince fan and a huge Michael Jackson fan, and at some point it comes up, oh, if you had to pick one, who would you pick? Or if you had to choose between Michael Jackson and Prince, which one would you pick? And I have to be honest and tell you, I think that's a really unfair question for a couple of reasons. Number one, luckily I don't have to. I don't have to pick between the two, because they both left an abundance of material behind for us to enjoy. Other than the fact that they're both black artists who made music, I don't see very many similarities between the two at all. To me, I do feel like they get pitted against each other, somewhat by fans, but more by the media than anything. I think there's I don't want to say it's like a conspiracy agenda or anything, but I do think that there's a need by the media to push some sort of battle between these two artists, and to me, they're just not even remotely comparable. To give you an idea of how foreign that question sounds to me, is if you were to say, if you had to pick between Skid Row and Pink Floyd, who would you pick? You know, everybody would think that question's ludicrous, right? Because it's completely different artists. So, you know, is it just because there are a couple of bands of white guys that we ask that question? And so that's my perspective on the question in the first place of Prince versus Michael Jackson. I don't think it's a versus thing. I think it's two completely different artists who are amazing at what they do. One side note I will mention, and this is being a fan of both, a devout fan of both of these guys, is I will say that I am a little bit jealous that the Prince fan base never has to deal with what the Michael Jackson fan base has to deal with. If you're a Michael Jackson fan watching this video, or a music lover, you probably know that seemingly every couple of years somebody comes along to try and extort and trample all over Michael Jackson's name and the work that he left behind. And so far, no one has pulled that with Prince at all. Any sort of salacious stories or lawsuits or anything like that. So Prince fans get to just celebrate Prince, and they don't ever have to have these difficult discussions from people who either don't know or don't want to believe the truth regarding Michael Jackson. So it's almost that part of me as a fan is jealous of the other part of me as a fan, because it's very hard to deal with as a fan of Michael, dealing with that all the time. With Prince, you never have to. And another thing that the Prince fan base has going for it, that unfortunately the Michael Jackson fan base doesn't, is that since Prince has passed, there have been way more good releases than bad regarding quality of material, volume of material. We can argue all day about whether or not the Purple Rain tour should be released, or the deluxe version of Purple Rain wasn't fantastic. But if you're going to bring those up, I can then say, okay, but the 11 LP version of Sign of the Times was amazing. The 10 LP version of 1999 was amazing. And we will probably get more like that down the line. Whereas the Michael Jackson estate has fumbled one of the greatest legacies in the history of recorded music to such a point that there are parody accounts of the estate on Twitter. Fans regularly ridicule anything and everything that they do, and with good reason. One of the only projects we've had released since Michael Jackson passed has a lawsuit around it about how they used an impersonator for lead vocals on a Michael Jackson record. So just from those two things alone, the fan bases, in my opinion, should be coming together more and lift these artists up together instead of trying to be divisive about it. And I want to be clear, I don't feel like anyone who asked me this question in the comments or maybe on our Twitter account or whatever, I don't think it all comes from a place of being malicious. I'm just saying that the reason why I never comment on this is because for me it's two completely different things. While both artists were here with us, I celebrated both their catalogs as much as I could. I lifted them both up as much as I could, and I still do now, ever since both of them passed away from us. And I continue to do that. I try and celebrate both artists as much as I can, and I just don't want to contribute to the noise out there that, oh, Michael Jackson was only a dancer or only sang, and Prince played all these instruments. Those are just facts of things that, they went about things completely different. So for me, if the question is, which one, if you had to choose, which one would you choose? My answer is I don't have to, and I'm lucky for that. So for me, my answer is both. There is no versus. I love both artists equally. So I know this is probably going to be a divisive video, as I said near the top. When we do these videos, one of the things that makes me the happiest is when there's a ton of comments and a lot of interaction. If you're extremely passionate about one artist over the other, I understand that, but please keep it civil in the comments. I would love to hear from you and your hows and whys on which one you think is definitely the bigger artist, or why you do think they should be compared. Either way, that's all that matters to me in these videos is the comment section and interacting with other people who love music and the artists that I love. Thank you so much for watching.